see? Yes, that shouldn't have... Oh, right, yes, that's the noise the randomizer makes when it picks an episode from a two-part story. Let's see. Oh, okay, well, our destination is Moonbase Alpha for part 1 of The Bringers of Wonder. So, welcome back to Space 1999 Series 2 on the Randomiser. That's the sound that most people associate with this show. But anyway, I am quite happy to get here today. This is, I believe, the third time we have a two-parter on the Randomiser. Oh, I don't like that tiny little model of the eagle wiggling around there. Anyway, Commander Koenig is out in an eagle, and he's being a bit silly. And yes, as I said, I'm quite happy to see this one come up today, because this was my very first exposure to the series. I should stress, not via this two-parter, but by the Destination Moonbase Alpha compilation movie, which I think my mum rented for me from the library on VHS.
Do you read?
Probably about 3 years before I saw the rest of the show on BBC. Yes, it was on the VHS tape, the blue, I think it was Polygram or ITC videotape with the picture of Tony and Alan on the front.
So much fun since I burned Grandma's wig.
Yeah, Koenig has completely flipped his lid. Everyone in Command Center is very worried about this. And I do like what they're doing to make it feel like he's banking and diving and soaring. There's a loose helmet rolling around on the floor, which I guess is just a stagehand picking it up and throwing it back into shot every so often. But again, it's a lovely touch that makes this feel so real. And yes, very excited to see this come up today. And in fact, I specifically
clear waste dumps.
Did not
Too low. You'll hit one of the domes.
Watch the
Get out of there. That's lethal.
Come enjoy.
expanded version of Destination Moonbase Alpha on the new Super Space Theatre Blu-ray set, because I knew that this was coming up. And I wanted to watch it with you guys, so I hope you appreciate the sacrifices that I make for you. I like that. Yeah, so Koenig is
Take over that eagle by remote.
acting very childish,
Unit to the launch area. Crash unit 4 to launch
and
area.
he's ended up near yet another nuclear waste disposal area that we've never mentioned before, and we'll never see again.
If he hits one of those domes, he could cause a nuclear explosion.
No, that will need a specific stimulation with atomic fuel.
But this is a Jerry Anderson show, it could happen.
He's gonna crash.
Yeah, especially if he's going to crash.
Take a couple of nuclear physicists with you, just in case. Alec, Barbara.
Yeah, take those guys who've been hanging around Command Center for seemingly no reason, pretending that they're stars of the show, but they're just guest stars for this week.
Heads up! Big Daddy's coming in! Yeah!
Oh, I think I saw a fishing line on the helmet there. Yes, it's stopped rolling now, and here we go. Oh, he's clipped a dome. He seems to be himself again now. Crashed right into a very big rock. And that's it, he's down. Is he alright? Well, everyone in Command Center is very worried, despite the fact that this is, what, his 15th Eagle crash? You know, by this point, he must be doing it every other day, and yet the Command Center personnel are doing a very good job looking upset and concerned. Even the extras are really giving it their all. Luckily, Koenig has got his helmet on, because it's a very serious crash. Lots of fire and such all over the place. Ooh. And that's a very good teaser. We come back to an even more exciting rescue sequence, although it does beg the question, and it's one of those questions that I think is up there with the one in The Last Sunset. Oh, why does a moon base have windows that open? And in that one you can say, there's a reason. Here, they've just opened the doors to space, the rescue team. A, I hoped they checked somehow to make sure that Koenig was still alive. And B, why did that not instantly put all these fires out? But, having said all that, it does make for a rather spectacular opening as these guys in fire suits kind of stumble around the place. It does, for once, feel like an Eagle crash is a serious, potentially fatal situation, rather than just, you know, something you can do 3 of before breakfast and walk away without any... Oh. Is this the shot where... Yeah, one of the guys putting out the fire, his spray hose, the nozzle comes off the end of the hose, or I don't know. It might have been that shot and I might have missed it. Anyway.
112 days since leaving Earth orbit. Dr. Helena Russell recording.
Carter and Ehrlich, one of the nuclear waste guys, is pulling or taking Koenig to safety. Nice shot of a crashed Eagle. And there's a chap with a camera on the scene. This is Clive Kander of the Records Unit. Never mentioned before, will never be mentioned again. Well, after this two-parter.
I've got it all on film. What's the radiation count? Negative. All clear.
Well, that's clearly meant to be Bartlett, who said, negative, all clear. But he's played by Jeremy Young, so... yeah, Jeremy Young does not have that voice. But this, going back to the first time I saw this in the compilation, Destination Moonbase Alpha, not only does that compilation do a really good job of establishing the setup for the series, which, you know, does come into play later on in the story in more than one way, it also establishes the world of Alpha and these characters really well, I find. So, yeah, watching this as a kid, I had no trouble, really, keeping up with who was who and what was what. It was an instantly immersive world that I really wanted to spend more time in. And it didn't bother me that the introduction to the film had characters from the first season and main mission and all that. It just didn't twig with me that this might be the second series of a show. To be honest, I'm not even sure I realised that it was a show until several years later.
Feeds it back into the brain.
Anyway, Koenig is now installed in the medical centre.
Electronic.
And they're giving him a brain massage. Electronic.
It is still experimental.
Then you don't know the side effects.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Is it worth the risk?
If I don't take the risk.
Oh, and we used to have so much brain damage on this show. First season you couldn't move for brain damage. Now we're very low on brain damage in Series 2, so we've got to try and get some of that going.
I don't know.
Plugging him into an experimental computer seems to potentially be a way to do the trick.
Come on, Maya.
There's lots of high-tech equipment and stuff bolted to his head. Various monitors and such. And what's going on in Command Center?
It's too far away to tell.
Maya?
Sensors pick up configuration of a spaceship.
Ooh.
Range?
90,210,000 miles.
Heading?
Directly at us.
Well, that happens quite often around here. Nothing to get concerned about.
Center.
Helena, how long before I can talk to John?
15 minutes at the earliest. He's linked to that brain complex, Tony. I don't dare break the sequence.
I love the reaction on Tony's face there. It's like, oh yeah, that head injury and that highly experimental brain thingy that you told me about less than 5 minutes ago.
Spacecraft almost an hour to reach Alpha.
Tony, range 40 million miles.
It's impossible. That means it's exceeding the speed of light.
32 million miles.
Ooh. So this is an interesting development. Although I'm sure that there must have been other faster-than-light spaceships in 1999 before.
Radiation leak. The nuclear waste area is stable. Yeah, it's going to stay that way too for centuries.
I love the way Ehrlich and Bartlett just march into Command Center and start sitting around and leaning on things as if, yes, we are regular characters. You are interested in what we have to say, being fellow regulars yourselves.
That is a Superswift. No, it can't be.
It is.
But it is, I tell you.
Superswift.
Superswift never got off the drawing board.
No, not before we left Earth. But things have changed.
Physics hasn't changed.
Hmm?
That thing is traveling faster than the speed of light.
Well, remember now, Nick Tate has been seen going faster than the speed of light, so... Oh, it's a very pretty effect, though.
Sure and hell looks like the drawings of Superswift. It seems like human technology to me. It could be from Earth.
Well, thank you for your opinions.
Now, whatever that thing is out there, let's not get sentimental about it.
Well, I'm feeling a bit sentimental about it, actually, because I like that they've named it Superswift in what I guess must be an acknowledgement of the Swift from Brian the Brain. Yeah, I like that it's implied this is a development of that craft. Again, I suppose the closest the second series really gets to those various doomed probe missions that you would hear about in the first series of the Ultra Probe and the Meta Probe and the several other probes.
Moonbase.
I want to say Uranus Probe, but I'm not sure if that's real or not. Yeah, what was the one that Helena's husband went missing on? Anyway, who cares? Because the Superswift has landed. Despite all requests to the contrary.
Identify yourself. Repeat, identify.
Who could be on board?
Tony, they're trying to come through.
Stuart Damon, of the Champions and General Hospital fame.
It's Guido.
Oh, it's Guido as well.
Hi, little brother.
Yes. Returning to the series.
It's my brother, Guido.
Stuart Damon, having played an Eagle pilot in the first series episode, Matter of Life and Death, which I think he gets a couple of lines and then gets zapped and spends the rest of the time in medical centre. So this is a much meatier role for him, and this is a nice scene as the occupants of the Superswift make their way via travel tube to the reception area. We have a lot of Alphans there to greet them, and this is one thing that I, although it's, you know, mostly extras that we've seen before.
Guido.
Oh, that's it.
Guido!
So many people from Earth. They've finally come to bring them home. Yeah, I like, because this is a two-parter, and this is something I'll discuss a bit as we go through this one, the fact that because it's a two-parter, we have more money to spend, so we can actually have this huge, really huge guest cast for this story.
Peter, darling.
That's it. Sandra's reunited with fiancé Peter. Helena's reunited with Dr. Shaw.
Now, I want a little respect from you. Oh, yeah? Well, that cuts both ways.
Tony's reunited with his brother Guido. Alan is reunited with a friend. Ehrlich is reunited with a possible brother or...
I hate to have to tell you.
I don't know, he looks a bit like William Gaunt.
1,500 yards. How's your handicap?
Again, another reason why I instantly accepted back in the day that this had to be a main character, because I didn't know any different. Yeah, it's something I really like with this one, because we have more money to throw a two-part story. We're getting something here that looks a bit, looks and feels a bit more like the first season.
Tell me where I could find Dr. Ben Vincent.
Ah, yes, this is Ben Vincent's girlfriend.
Sister, right?
No.
Oh, his daughter?
Alan making a bit of a fool of himself here.
No, you're his grandmother.
No.
Oh, boy, I guess that only means you're going to tell me what I'm afraid you're going to tell me.
Yes.
I'm going to kick you in the nuts. Go away. Oh, well. Anyway, that was a nice bit of banter, I suppose.
Well done, sport. Wonderful.
Al Lampert, of course, as Alan's friend there, was in Star Wars.
Without your coaching, it was difficult.
Telling off Darth Vader near the beginning of the first film. And Ben's reunited with, this is Louisa.
Listen, I got a lot of stiff tendons all around here, you know.
And I do find, although it's you know, there is a reason given later in the story as to why, I would have liked it had that door opened and in comes a friend of Victor Bergman and a friend of Paul Morrow, a friend of Uma, or, you know, someone who wasn't on the show anymore.
A little while. You've all naturally got thousands
Doesn't Command Center look so full of people?
of things back on Earth. How are things back on Earth? The time it took us
And
to get...
to be honest, it does make the set look very cramped. I imagine it would have been quite difficult to shoot all this and actually get decent shots.
Now look, just give us a minute or two to get our breath back.
Well, keeping to herself on the sidelines,
Everything you want to know.
Maya
Everybody, thank you very much.
not instantly looking to join in. And again, it's another one of these
Come on, I'll introduce you.
moments that Catherine Schell and the show really does so well.
My brother, Guido.
Of Maya feeling like an alien, always feeling like an outsider among humans.
brother, and his smart brother, and his handsome brother. In every other way, he's a poor second.
And another thing I really like about this one is most of these characters, these people who've arrived on the Superswift, the ones who are connected to our main characters, by and large, are really great characters and really well performed. And Stuart Damon is just top of the pile. You really believe him as Tony's brother.
Helena, this is Peter Rockwell.
Hello, how are you?
He's one of the Tomorrow People.
We were going to get married when my tour of duty on Alpha ended.
I've heard a lot about you.
Specifically, Helena, do you think it's all right if I forget all about him and go off and have a relationship with Paul?
You always did take that view.
You knew each other before?
Dr. Shaw was my tutor at medical college. He taught me everything there is to know about being a doctor.
It took him 20 seconds.
What do you do, Guido?
He's a cab driver.
I would also find it slightly funny, but also a bit poignant, if somebody came to Command Center, someone we know, and nobody was there for them, you know. Where are Yasko's friends? Where's Yasko just at the door with tears in her eyes because nobody came to see her?
He hasn't got the faintest idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, it was Reinhardt who made the breakthrough at Cambridge. Cambridge, England.
Ooh.
Massachusetts. It means we can travel anywhere in the universe now. The journey back to Earth is just a bus ride in Earth time.
Yes.
We're just the scouting.
That was Bartlett having a bit of a...
Borders will be along soon, and then it's goodbye moon for everyone.
Oh. Yes, Bartlett having a bit of a disagreement there with... I can't remember what his name is. Oh, Professor Hunter, I think that character's name is. He doesn't have much to do in this.
How's Mama?
But this is good. And I want to believe that this happened.
You a mound of pasta the size of Vesuvius. And the sauce? I know. Everything in it but holy water.
I believe these two as brothers instantly.
When the news broke that we'd blown out? 3 days of weeping, and then 2 weeks of phoning the White House to demand action.
And this is how I really could believe it all going down back on
They
Earth.
decided simply not to believe it. The scientists were talking out of their navel as usual. It was simply a matter of time. And Papa? He went quiet. And he got thin. Yeah, sure.
I love the way Tony asks, how did she take it when the news broke? As if everyone on Earth wouldn't have felt the moon being blown out of orbit. But again, it's a nice nod to the origins of the series, which of course Tony wasn't around for. Now, Professor Hunter and Peter...
And where did you meet?
...are leaving Command Center as if in a trance.
You look a little lost. Can I help you?
And here's this lady...
Perhaps later.
...who's been wandering Command Center with a hungry look in her eye and a rather revealing, well...
She's been looking for John ever since she got here. She knew him before I did.
Does that give her territorial rights?
Well,
a friend for Koenig.
Hannah Morris. She's like the 5th Cavalry. Wherever she plants her flag is home.
And again, Diana Morris is another nice character, but unfortunately...
Helena, darling.
She's let down by being dubbed. This is not the actress Toby Robbins' voice. Toby Robbins actually did appear quite recently on The Protectors on the Randomiser.
It's been terrible here.
Oh, Ceremony for the Dead, which wasn't that long ago.
Awfully wearing.
But this is not her real voice. I suspect this is an actress named Nikki van der Zyl.
How long is it that you've been,
who was, did a lot of voices for the Bond films. She was a lot of Bond girl voices.
Still, there's something to be said for a marooned society. It does limit men's choices.
And the women's opportunities.
I've always made my own opportunities.
There are some of us who still prefer them to come to us.
Oh.
Hey, Clive, you're always with the camera, huh? Is there anything you don't get on tape? This is for the record.
Hello, Clive. Well-established, loyal character and friend to everybody on the base.
Clive? Oh, what's that? You won't get to be in the picture.
And Clive's played by Nick Hobbs, who was a stuntman on lots of shows in this period. In fact, I think he was in Space Warp playing a security guard, and I'm sure he appears again in an episode after this.
Isn't it?
Oh, was it the Seance Spectre? I remember seeing him with a silly moustache on his face in order to disguise the fact that he'd been featured in this story so prominently. Yeah, I think Seance Spectre, he's wearing a moustache.
There are depths to him that I'm sure you never found out about.
Anyway, we'll later see him on fire.
At once, where is he?
At the moment, he is linked to an Ellendorf quadrigraphic brain complex.
Oh, very wise of you, darling.
Oh, wow. I like that Diana is a friend that Helena knows as well, not just Koenig. Meanwhile, in Medical Center, Koenig is, well, he's, he's getting there, being treated on. And here's a medical technician, Sandstrom, just leaving Medical Center. And I want to say that this guy playing Sandstrom, I have a feeling if this isn't his only role, his CV isn't that long, which is a shame because I really like his performance in this episode. He's now being taken over by Professor Hunter and Peter Rockwell, walking off in a trance. And he will spend the rest of the episode basically under the control of the aliens, being summoned to do various bits of dirty work for them here and there, and generally being beaten up for his trouble. So I kind of feel an instant sympathy for this guy because he's just a guy who works in the medical center and he's probably a nice guy, but he gets treated so badly throughout all of this. But What are they going to get him to do? Well, all this brain stuff looks a bit complicated. How about we just start switching all that off?
This is a medical monitor. These are strategically placed so that from anywhere on Alpha we can keep a check on our patients.
No they're not.
Rational setup.
It's a good idea to have a medical monitor in command center, but nobody has ever done this before or since.
A nice, cozy spot.
And here we get the first real visible sense of these people not quite being what they seem, as Koenig is writhing and squirming on the screen, and Ben is kind of aware of it, but also, when Louisa looks at him, well, Jeffrey Coulson is doing some very good boggle-eyed acting here, convinces him to turn the monitor off.
I wonder if you wouldn't mind, Ben. I have some very important questions that I want to put to Louisa, you know, about the shape of things back on Earth, the configuration of the modern female.
Oh, Alan, are you still not done? He's just taken her out of the room, which of course means
I'm dying.
Ben can come out from under her spell,
Can't I save him?
turn the monitor back on, and
Longing for something.
I love this. I don't think this music was used anywhere else in the series. This is the Ben Vincent to the rescue theme for a fairly intense and well choreographed fight between him and Sandstrom in the medical center. Oh, that's it. Ben straight with a fist into Sandstrom's stomach, throwing him against the wall. And I get the sense from this fight. Firstly, it's nice to see Ben Vincent fighting to save Koenig. This is normally the sort of thing Tony or Alan would get to do. But I also get the sense, watching this fight, Ben Vincent does not fight fair. Granted, Sandstrom is under alien control, so he's not exactly playing fair either. But Ben, is all about punching him in the stomach, and I think does he end up strangling him at the end? Still, good old Ben. Helena is in pursuit, by the way, but considering she was almost right on his heels when he left Command Center, it's taken her a bit of a while to get here. But yep, Ben has strangled Sandstrom to the floor.
This one was trying to kill Koenig.
Oh no. If only we had somebody on duty here at all times who could keep an eye on this sort of thing. I guess that could be Sandstrom, but...
He's all right. The cycle's completed. If it had happened earlier...
Oh no. So Koenig's going to be all right. And here comes one of my favourite lines.
What happened?
Coming from Sandstrom here. Not so much lines, it's the way he says it.
Wait a minute,
tried to
Ben.
kill Koenig.
Ben, now just take it easy.
Kill Koenig! I have to kill Koenig!
Kill Koenig! I have to kill Koenig!
Destroy him!
All right.
You destroy
Here we go. Here we
I saw a boom mic in the shot there. So, they've knocked out Sandstrom. Yeah, I like this actor.
What about fashions? What's everybody wearing?
Oh, well, look at us. It's either a lot or nothing. A lot of tinfoil.
Tend to be a little lower. Skirts tend to be a little higher.
Oh, back to Maya.
Now, where do you think you're going?
I don't want to disturb everybody.
You couldn't disturb anybody. Now, come on.
And this is something the series touches on several times during the second series. Maya's feelings of being like an outsider, and even among the regular Alphans.
Hey, Greedo. What I want to know is what kind of propulsion you use to boost you past the speed of light.
It's a development of the ion rocket.
Yeah, she can never be 100% sure that she's going to be completely welcome because things like this might happen. Now, I let that line play about the development of the ion rocket.
Love, you're making...
Because when I first... Well, no. When I saw this episode again on BBC Two, they showed 2 parts together as a compilation. For some reason, I did something that I did sometimes during this period. I would turn on the subtitles to... was it CFAX number 888? That won't mean anything to anybody outside of the UK, but I turned on the subtitles for this episode, and it was obvious that the guy doing the subtitles didn't quite understand what he was dealing with here. So instead of saying it's a development of the ion rocket, ION, the subtitles said it's a development of the iron rocket, IRON. Now, I suppose technically you could say, Lightspeed is a development of the iron rocket, but that's like saying it's a development of steam power. And there's one more misspelt caption that I can remember from that broadcast, and I will mention it later on.
What happened to the commander on the Eagle?
See, this is what you don't get from other podcasts. Pointless remembrances of misspelt subtitles. If you're interested, I do remember one from an episode of Deep Space Nine, where Chief O'Brien says to a turbo lift, "Run about Pad C," and the subtitles came up with, "What about Pad C?" As if, you know, that's a valid suggestion. Anyway, I'm now completely digressing. But it's okay because Koenig is, yeah, I think he's nearly back with us.
How do you feel?
You tell me.
You look great to Mick.
No.
You're fine.
Well, get this off your head and you'll be flying eagles, well, before the end of the day.
Wait a minute. Let's get this off of him. Come on.
It's a nice bit of headgear, that brain complex thing. It looks a bit like almost like a Cyberman bit of headgear.
Eagle 10.
Total.
Wow, I really did a number on it.
John, what happened?
Everyone must have seen what happened. Rocket malfunction.
I love that Koenig assumes that everyone must have been watching his flight. I gather it was just meant to be a routine flight. He was monitoring some level of radiation or something.
Well, that's what it was, wasn't it?
He doesn't remember anything about
The mission crew found no evidence of rocket malfunction.
flipping out and imagining himself as a little kid or something, whatever it was he was up to.
That means pilot error. That's terrific.
Oh, I don't need another pilot error notification on my record. I've only got 20, 25. What does it matter?
A rescue expedition has landed here on Alpha from Earth. They came in a Superswift.
Superswift.
And I do like the fact that Helena is absolutely on board because she's got no reason not to be. And I really like Martin Landau's gradual acceptance of this. At first he thinks it's a joke.
Hassan's fiancé, Peter.
Hassan's fiancé.
And Professor Hunt.
And Jeffrey Kassoon is stuck in the middle, just sort of reacting to their reactions.
Diana Morris.
Diana Morris. Now, Helena, please don't even joke about that barracuda.
And a nice use of the music as well, because she's not joking.
Only you're not joking.
No, she really means it.
You really mean it?
She does.
You mean somehow something worked?
Yes.
You mean they got it licked? They're really here?
Yes.
How we can get back to Earth?
Yes.
Helena!
Yes,
Helena!
yes, yes.
Helena!
And I think this is why I look at this as a really good introduction to the series through Destination Moonbase Alpha, is their reactions to this news. It all feels so genuine, all of this. Even despite the fact that we've got characters that we've never seen before all over the place. The actors are treating it as real, and I believe these people and these personalities. I do wonder how well this would have gone down had they done it in the first season, because
We met at the jazz ballet group at MIT.
the focus in the second series was more on the characters and the relationships, the interplay. I feel that is one of the most successful elements of the season, so I don't know how this would have played in year one anyway. Koenig is now in command center, and we're now going to get some wonderful panicked acting from Martin Landau.
Stay with us.
John?
Also, one of my favourite bits of music being matched to a particular scene. I love the way this music from Space Warp fits this scene. Because Koenig is not seeing the visitors from Earth, he's seeing aliens everywhere. Big, immobile, one-eyed blobs of green jelly.
Stay back, don't come near me.
Which he's apparently scared of.
What's the matter, John?
Lots of close-ups on his eyes, which are very effective. And I've got to say, I think I've covered this before. I was a bit of a wuss as a kid, still am.
What's the matter with you?
So when I read the back of the box, Koenig sees hideous, terrifying aliens, I was like, oh. And then when these things came on,
Erratic as he was up in the Eagle.
I've never really known what to make of these things. I think,
John, they're friends.
on the one hand, no, they're not scary. On the other hand,
Friends,
they are very imaginative. Quite disgusting. I mean, in HD, you see that green slime pouring down the, obviously, plastic eye of the monster.
Just calm down, okay? Listen.
So, yeah, they are
All right. Listen to me.
detailed and not scary, at least to me. I think also, it's just they're so weird. It kind of works in their favour.
Stay behind me. Stay behind me.
The fact that it's not an obvious guy in a costume, it's not that same monster costume that we've seen a million times before and since, or which in fact does turn up again in this story. These things are so out of the norm. So on the whole, I tend to give them the nod, because you're just not expecting something that weird. And I understand that a lot of people would find them a bit funny. Certainly, I'm sure they've been taken the mickey taken out of context on various TV shows and such. But for fans of the series, I don't know, what are your feelings on these monsters? Do you feel they work?
Stay clear, Tony!
Or, I'm going to say generally they work. Because the fact that they are immobile blobs, it's kind of established in dialogue later on that they don't expend a lot of physical energy, so, you know, why would they be moving around? There's a million questions it brings up about, you know, when we're seeing the alien blobs standing there doing nothing, someone else is actually seeing them, you know, moving and being all active and such. I also like the idea that each of these aliens is pretending to be...
I've put him in restraint.
You know, it's not just that the Alphans are perceiving them in this way. You could read into it that the alien blobs, one of them is, for instance, pretending to be Diana Morris and saying things and being all sort of
do something
provocative and catty.
Tony, his blood pressure's up. His adrenaline level is very high.
Anyway, we talked over it, but I'm sure you pieced it together anyway.
Yes, John.
Koenig had a bit of a freak out in Command Center.
Take it easy.
Had to be stunned.
What are they? What do they want?
John, listen to me. Those are people out there from Earth. Now, you know some of them. They've come to take us home.
They're not people! Are you blind?
But here's something I'm not entirely sure works.
Can't you see what you've got out there?
Koenig being absolutely hysterical. I can understand that reaction in the first time he sees them. Oh, there it is. There's another one. Dr. Shaw, alien, is
Get that out of here!
is in the building.
Get out of here!
Yeah.
Get that out of here! Get out of here!
It's not very... Well, I was going to say it's not very in character for Koenig, but sometimes, you know, he did completely flip out and run around the base in his pajamas shrieking.
The last man I would have expected to flip out.
So, but, you know, even so, it's kind of...
To get out of here! I've got no...
He wouldn't react this psychotically. If it was that important, he would say, right, listen, this is what I'm seeing. I don't know what you're seeing, but this is what I see. Potential serious problem here. And I only mention it really because in the second half, that's exactly how he does behave. But because we're 15 minutes from the end of the episode, we can't have him get to that point yet. So he has to be hysterical. He has to be sedated. Anyway.
If you didn't let Ben Vincent out of your range, Koenig would be dead now.
Oh,
He interfered.
Alan.
Escaped the Eagle crash.
Randy old Alan. So if it wasn't for Alan's randiness and Ben Vincent, the aliens would be well on their way to victory by now.
Yeah.
He is a strong leader.
I do like that it's, you know, if it wasn't for that pesky Ben Vincent, of all people,
He's in position.
our plans would have worked. Anyway, while the alien ladies continue to woo people in Command Center,
There is resistance.
Guido Vedesci and
Help.
Dr. Shaw. That's right, Dr. Shaw. I wanted to say Professor Hunter. This is Dr. Shaw. Yes, they're keeping an eye on Clive Candor in the Records Centre. Yes, Clive Candor is reviewing photos that he took earlier, or photos and film, and he's feeling a bit of something going on at his temple. He's rubbing his face, while the two aliens watch. And I believe composer Derek Wadsworth once said this was his favourite piece of music that he composed for the series. He used to put this on and chase his children around the house pretending to be a monster, which is rather fun. He sounds like a fun dad to have had. And what's on this tape? Whoa! There's a video of some aliens. And Clive wasn't expecting that. Tries to leave. Can't get out the door. So just break the door control. Yes. They now seem to have Clive under their control. He's going to go and release some oxygen from an oxygen cylinder, which of course he has in the Records Centre. But you can see from the way he's wafting it into his face, he believes that it's water of some kind. But who is this passing by who has noticed what's going on, noticing that Clive is flipping out? Well, it's regular extra Glenda Allen.
Maya, We've got trouble in the records lab.
I think they've given her a line. It's not her voice. I think that's Nikki van der Zyl again. But it's nice that they gave an extra. And she, although she is regularly seen in Command Center and elsewhere on Alpha through the second series, she was also in the first series. Only about 3 or 4 episodes. But I like, though, that because the aliens are both concentrating on Kanda, they couldn't do anything to stop Glenda Allen from getting to the compost. Because, you know, first Benton Vincent, now Glenda Allen, they're being thwarted by... Well, they will be thwarted by Yasko any minute now. But, yeah. There's a full rescue team now outside to help get Kanda out. He's trashing the place. What's Alan going to do to... Oh, he's going to use his laser.
The emergency oxygen supply, he's got it full on. He'll blow the whole place to pieces.
Oh, I see. Oh, I won't do that then.
To the air vent.
I love that suggestion from Alan. That would have been spectacularly misjudged from him. But, you know, to be fair, Maya's not come up with a better plan. Getting in through the air vent is a good plan. Oh, here comes our other misspelt caption.
She's a metamorph.
She's a metamorph. Became, on the BBC transmission, she's a manamorph. M-A-N-N-A morph. I don't know. I don't even want to know what their thinking was there. Anyway, Maya's in, turned into a monster. Candace panicked, fallen back against the door, and opened it. Kaboom! And there he is, stumbling out on fire. Luckily, Maya in the monster costume is alright. And I love... Whoa, there it is! You can see Nick Tate bracing for the second blast from the records room. But even when it comes, it still looks very dangerous. And he in particular is very close to that second blast. Anyway, our guys are inside to put out the fire. And how's...
He's dead.
Oh, I was going to say, how's Clive? Well, he's dead, yes. Not to worry, Nick Hobbs will be back in the Seance Spectre, I think.
Tony, we're sorry about this tragedy you just had.
Oh, what are we going to do without Clive? Not Clive.
But we're rapidly getting out of the range of Earth. And if we're going to get you all home, we have to address ourselves to the problem.
There's a pilot ship that'll go back first. There'd be room for 3 people on it. If there's anyone you'd like to suggest...
Me? I would have sent Clive.
Should get to it as soon as possible.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, okay.
So, everyone's gotten over the death of Clive very quickly. We've apparently printed out the names of everyone on Alpha, presumably minus Clive, and put them into a little box. Who are we going to draw out first? We've got 3 people who can go back to Earth. Let's see who we draw first. It's Stoner. But under alien control, Stoner reads...
Ehrlich.
Yay! Good old Ehrlich, who's been hanging around Command Center pretending to be one of the main cast. Played by Drew Henley, of course, from Star Wars and many other things. Number 2, McCarthy. Bartlett. Ah. And Sandra gives him a little hug. Aww. So that's the other nuclear waste guy. And number 3 is... All Day. Or...
Carter.
Yay!
You did it, Alan! Fantastic!
Hey, that's nice. So Carter and his chums... well, they're celebrating. They're hugging each other over a console, and the 3 actors can't quite reach each other over it, so one of them just knocked it. They bumped into it as they were celebrating there.
Do I seem rational to you?
Yes.
Fine. Now, will you believe that...
Aliens!
I don't see what you see.
Oh.
What do you see?
Something hideous. Something ugly and horrendous and hostile and deadly.
Yes, lunatic factor rising.
To me, please listen to me.
We're now at sort of level 2, creeping up to 3.
Look, please let me get out of here! Don't you find it very strange that all the personnel on that rescue ship are people you know?
They're all volunteers, John. They specifically asked to come.
I do like that, you know, that element of the explanation. It kind of has a built-in explanation. The aliens' plan, whatever Koenig comes up with here, can be countered instantly by Tony.
To see who'd go first.
Yes.
That Ehrlich, Bartlett, and Allen were the winners. The 3 men chosen are members of the radioactive monitoring team. Isn't that strange?
I mean, when have we ever had a radioactive monitoring team?
Names.
What's the matter with you? Can't you see you're being manipulated?
Although I can really accept when stuff like that comes along and it's mentioned for one episode, never mentioned again.
Blind!
Things like Sanderson's exploration teams and so on.
Hey, all systems a go here. What's the hold-up, Alpha?
Because it is a big base, there's lots of stuff going on. Why couldn't we have radioactive monitoring teams? Gives Alan something to do.
The pilot ship is ready for liftoff.
Tony, don't let him go. Helena, don't let them go. Don't let him go.
Oh, that's it. Switched him off. Had enough of that. Oh, so Koenig's out of it again. And Tony's given up and gone back to command centre. The absolutely heaving command centre. Again, all the aliens are present. We also have Glenda Allen again and Jenny Cresswell as the Superswift deploys its tiddly tiny pilot ship. And everyone's very happy about it. And I do like the look of the Superswift. I like that it does fit the lineage of the Eagle. I'm not mad about the look of the pilot ship. It's a bit diddy. I don't really understand the although this is an illusion that the aliens are creating, I don't quite understand what they are making the Alphans think the ship can do in terms of getting them back to Earth, because it doesn't seem to have much in the way of anything. Anyway, I love that shot though of all the aliens gathered around on the lunar surface. And Dr. Shaw has been to see Sandstrom, who is, also tied down in another room in the medical centre. I guess everyone just forgot about him. Except the aliens, they are now going to use him again. For Sandstrom can get out of the straps and go and wreak more havoc.
There it is. I gotta tell the guys back on Alpha about this. Hey, you guys. It's beautiful. It's beautiful!
And although they're not members of the regular cast, I do really like Drew Henley and Jeremy Young in this. I find them really believable as not only as Alphans, but established members of Alpha's hierarchy. And here's Sandstrom. Oh! Introducing his fist to Tony's stomach. Tony is down, and this is a very cool move. I love that move from Catherine Schell, where she kicks him out of the way and then waves a little stick over her head, and suddenly she's a kendo warrior. But really, it's just another excuse for someone to beat Sandstrom into unconsciousness. I would love to know what happened to this guy after the events of this episode, because I don't think he's in part 2. And again, some just wonderful boggle-eyed acting from the guy who plays him. Although it does feel rather like, we need an action scene to end part 1. So, I mean, again, very well choreographed and rather intense. That's Sandstrom down. And here comes Tony. Ever alert Tony, rising to the rescue.
Are you all right?
Oh, terrific. What the hell happened?
I hit him with my stick.
Again, it's a nice line. I don't quite know why she's holding a Perspex stick, nor how it transforms, but no time for that now, because Koenig is about to have a visit from Dr. Shaw, the alien. Oh, and there he is. And yeah, this is our cliffhanger for this episode, and I like, actually, how effective this is. It isn't immediately clear what they're trying to do, other than it's just, monster approaching Koenig, about to do something. But what I really like, what I find is very effective, is there's no sort of big ba-ba-ba-ba-ba cliffhanger music as such. We just get that noise. And it is a nice, horrible, gruesome, effective noise. Plus Koenig's squeals. It's just that horrible noise, and then sudden cut to silence with the words end of part 1. Because that's it for part 1 of The Bringers of Wonder. We will be back next week to find out how on earth Commander Koenig gets out of that one. Yes, my thoughts on that episode are, as I said, it was the first one I ever saw, so I've got a bit of a soft spot for it, even though that was on Destination. But I really like how more expansive and expensive this first episode feels. Lots of lovely character stuff for not only the regulars, but some of the guest characters as well. So a very strong first episode for Space 1999's only two-parter. We will see if they can keep up the quality next week.